This show is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a revolutionary new daily fantasy game whereby you pick 2, 3, or 4 players to go over or under their fantasy point projections, and if you're correct, you win. Pick 2 or more players from the same sport or league, or go cross leagues for your parlay. Use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, 5, and receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. But first, sign up at prizepicks.com to start winning today. It's football season, and it's time to make your way over to MyBookie. They've got deposit matches, free bets, and huge cash prize contests for you to take advantage of all season long. NFL action? Check. College ball? Check. Plus, they have a mobile-friendly website and top-of-the-line customer service, making their platform a one-stop shop for all betting needs. MyBookie offers action on everything from championship futures to NFL in-game live betting, making sure you've covered every step of the way. Sign up at MyBookie today, and when you do, use promo code 3yards to claim a halfway match on your deposit. If you put in 200, they'll spot you another 100 to play with. That's promo code 3yards so you can claim your bonus when you make your deposit. Sign up today to begin your winning season exclusively at MyBookie.
Welcome to 3 Yards Per Carry, a podcast covering the Miami Dolphins and the NFL. Now, here's your hosts, Chris, Alf, and Simon.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football
And we're on.
team.
Welcome to another victorious. That's a lot of them already. That's 7 of them. 7 of them. 5 out of the last 6. 6 out of the last 7, I believe. So, yeah, they're winning. Headed to the playoffs? Possibly. But welcome to another edition of 3 Yards Per Carry, a victorious edition. I'm Alfredo Arteaga. Chris Kaufman is here. Simon Clancy is traveling. He is filming somewhere in the southern part of England, I believe is what he said on the WhatsApp chat. What was it that he said?
Yeah, but what you leave out is that he's filming himself. He's filming himself with the lawnmower 3.0.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because of course we need that commercial. So we've had, which is kind of odd that we have, I guess we can call him a loyal listener. Also a very loyal follower on our 3 Yards Per Carry account that keeps asking for the jingle every single week. I don't know if that's weird or I don't know if that's weird or if it's complimentary or if it's I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Should we be
I think it's
flattered
just
or
that good of a
scared?
song.
Should we be flattered or scared, Chris?
I think it's just that good of a song. I think I'm not even. Don't ask me to even attempt it. I can't even remember it at this point. But I remember being blown away when I heard it. So
Yeah. And by the way, the same guy keeps asking for you and is pretty psyched that you're on the show tonight. So he's a fan
it's
of
been a little
you
bit.
and a fan of the jingle, which means he's not a fan of me, right? Because he doesn't even mention me, right?
no, it just leave you out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just wallpaper to him, but yeah, the lawnmower 3.0. Okay, we already got past Thanksgiving, but there's another big holiday coming up. Get the man.
Jingle balls.
Life. Yes, get the man in your life. The lawnmower 3.0. Use the promo code 5RSN, and you get 20% off, people. 20% off is a hell of a discount. You buy $100 worth of product, my math tells me you get $20 off. Is that math correct, Chris?
I'm not doing math tonight. I've taken a no math holiday.
Okay. But yes, use the promo code 5RSN, 20% off. All right.
That was by the way a no math holiday, not a no meth holiday. I am still doing meth.
You're still doing meth, right?
Yes, definitely.
Meth and cocaine. That's the
Only way to get through the day.
Yes, like in Wolf of Wall Street when he says, "That's the what do you think this job is about? Hooker and cocaine, my friends. That's the only way you could do this job."
The only way.
All right, so we're gonna go back in time a little bit. We're gonna go back in time to Tua's thumb because you didn't get to comment on it. Surprised,
Tua's-
disappointed that some people on the radio this morning were saying Tua's boo boo thumb didn't let him play on Saturday. It was on Sunday. It was interesting that Brian Flores says, "Oh, if we absolutely needed Tua, he could have played." Okay, that's nice, right?
Yeah.
What?
Well, they could have absolutely needed him because the starter is ancient and is very physical, and so like it wasn't. I was asking the question like, who's actually even backing him up today? Because we could have we had a game that featured like no quarterbacks, right?
Yes.
The New Orleans game against Denver.
Yeah.
By the way, that couldn't happen like a week earlier. The sons of bitches,
No.
like for the Denver Broncos, they couldn't. What's his face couldn't have tested positive like 1 week earlier, saved us the embarrassing loss.
That Jeff
Anyway.
Driscoll, Jeff Driscoll's going to get Jeff Driscoll's the idiot there, right? He was the one that tested positive and destroyed their whole week. It was interesting. Ben Albright who we respect and who seems very, very plugged in with the Denver Broncos, said that the Broncos had released, like basically they snitched on themselves to the NFL because they thought that would clear at least a couple of quarterbacks from that room. And the NFL said, no, you guys just implicated all of yourselves.
Yeah, basically. You got screwed.
So I saw that game, and to say that it was, but they did it to themselves. Okay. So, what's fair is fair. But to say that was illegitimate is, I guess, a compliment.
Well, what's weird about it to me is like, and somebody pointed this out that like the other games that got delayed, they also had tracing contact tracing protocols that they broke. Like they also had issues. Like so it kind of is like, well, why did Denver have to play? If all these other teams got the delay, even though they also broke protocol in some way or another.
I think it's called the 4 and 6 protocol.
Yeah, right. That's the irrelevance protocol.
Yeah. Yeah, the irrelevance. Yeah, the irrelevance protocol. Because notice how the Ravens, they're moving games.
Yeah,
it's very interesting that
we'll move heaven and earth for the Ravens and the Titans.
Yeah, everybody was ready to play football tomorrow night, right? And they say, no, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna move the game to Wednesday afternoon. And you're thinking, what the hell kind of difference does Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon have to do, right? Yeah, well, if you move it to Wednesday afternoon, the Ravens get 5 more players back.
Yep.
And their entire running back room.
Yep. Convenient,
right?
Yep. Hopefully they fall apart because I'd like to see them fall apart by the end of the year and Miami skating into the playoffs.
Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on the show, but
sure.
We're going to touch on Tua a little bit first. But yeah, it's looking good as far
toe thumbs.
Yeah, if we just start looking around, it's looking pretty good for the Dolphins because
the Raiders, looking bad.
Yeah, the Raiders got absolutely murdered. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you lose 43-6 to a team that's just running out the string. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Who's looking for a coach, by the way? Who's now rumored to be in on every single coach everywhere. Okay. It seems like it's going to be a hot job. I would say, although it's odd, that would be a hot job when, Trevor Lawrence is headed to New York. Maybe.
Yeah, right. Oh, God. Don't remind me about that.
But it seems like
I'm so pissed off about that. I am so upset.
It's going to happen. Okay.
I know it's going to happen, but I'm still upset.
Well, before we get back to Tua, and I know
I would have considered losing to them just to get the Jags into the Trevor race.
Nah, I want to see Tua playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
With a healthy thumb.
How do we have 2 quarterbacks in a row with toe thumbs? Like,
how is that possible?
Yeah, we got Ryan Tannehill with the infamous toe thumbs that he has, and then Tua. Well, he didn't start with toe thumb, but somebody decided to give him toe thumb in the bubble this week.
But let's and I'm going to touch on this right now, and then I'll ask you the question on Tua and his thumb. But Jesus Christ, this team, man, they're taking this New England thing, this cloak and dagger thing.
Oh yeah,
extremes. Okay,
sure.
Everybody knew. Okay, yeah, Tua's not playing, and he's inactive because his left thumb is injured. So everybody's wondering, and I'm even wondering, man, did he break his thumb?
Yeah.
Because if he broke his thumb, that's a month. Did he tear ligaments in his thumb? Did he dislocate it? And everybody said,
it's definitely soft tissue damage.
It's jammed, right? And then there's clandestine video of him in the tunnel throwing a football with one of the trainers, right?
Yep.
And he looks fine. Okay, but then
I don't know if he looked fine, but I mean, he was definitely. They gave it a go.
Yeah, like he was throwing the football, but he was already inactive at that point, so I don't even know why he's throwing the football. But he gets on the sideline, and at one point, and trust me, he never did. He left his left hand inside of his hoodie pocket the entire game, and at one point, he tries to adjust his headset or his earbuds to try to get the play call. So he has to put the play sheet down. So naturally, you would use your left hand, right? Grab the play sheet and then adjust. No, he put the play sheet under his armpit and started adjusting it with one hand as if he was doing everything with one hand only.
Yep, he was. I wonder if he had like a cold pack on his thumb the entire time or something. I don't know what the hell was going on, but he did. He had his hand. He had his hand in the pocket the whole time.
I will say this: Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, I love him as a quarterback, but nobody has ever looked more miserable in 50-degree weather 2 weeks in a row than Tua Tagovailoa.
But you know what it probably was? Is probably like there's these pictures like people start doing like NCIS or whatever. No, CSI. What the fuck is that?
You got it right.
Can you tell I watch network TV? But like people are doing like enhancements of a photo to get like, oh man, look at it to his grotesquely swollen thumb. I think that's why he kept his shit in his pocket the entire time. Because he's like,
because all the weirdos in the media.
I don't want anybody. I don't need anybody actually looking at my thumb. Like, and I probably the team probably, they are cloak dagger with this shit. But the team probably is like, don't ever show your thumb. like we don't need people speculating on this and whatever. But I really believe his thumb was hurt and what the most interesting thing to me was actually the, sort of the downgrade cycle followed by, because he was doubtful. And then they actually did throw it around, and not just in the tunnel, but they threw it around before that to see, hey, let's see how you are. And it was like, Brian Flores was like, I think he wanted to get him out there. I think he really wanted to get him out there, and he was like, no, I guess we can't get him out there. So I think he wanted to put the quarterback controversy to bed. And I think that it's a controversy mostly with the media, I think, right now, because they're stirring the pot, and that's what we do. We get people talking and chattering about this and that, and I get it. But also, I think what he's really worried about is the players and the coaches, because then you start getting some of the players, i.e. the guys who got money on the line, who seem to catch a lot of jump balls with Ryan Fitzpatrick playing. I don't have to name them.
Yes.
Get them thinking one way, and then you really do have a controversy brewing, right? And then you really do have something to be worried about. And I think that trying to get Tua out there against the Jets, even though his thumb evidently looked like it got run over by a truck.
Yeah.
I think that would have been kind of a way to try and head it off at the pass, not nip it in the bud. Like hey, we threw Ryan Fitzpatrick out there for a quarter to try and see if he could lead us on the comeback. It ended with, a game losing interception and damn near another game losing interception before the game losing interception. it didn't work. Okay, Tua is our guy. But instead, what happens is, of course, this is not a great football team, the Jets, and we have an offensive explosion of 20 points. And we win the game. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then the headlines are Ryan Fitzpatrick does enough. Ryan Fitzpatrick shows that he's got what Tua doesn't, or something. All this stuff. And now maybe you do have people inside that building. They give two shits about outside the building, but maybe now you do have people inside that building, kind of like, I don't know, man. Maybe Fitzpatrick should be the quarterback.
I think that they're looking at the 8 third down conversions and the time of possession being in their favor, and they're thinking maybe this is the way forward with our defense. We're just going to bore people to death with our offense, and then try to win games 20-10 over and over again.
Well, they tried that though, but that's not. I don't know that that's Fitzpatrick's game. I mean, there were some issues against the Jets defense, and the Jets defense played hard, and give them some credit. It's the offense on the Jets that are tanking, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Greg Williams is really good about getting all those 5-man pressures that Denver tried on the Dolphins and successfully.
Yeah, and he's also really good. He's also really good at motivating his defensive players, i.e., with money, to actually to
go kill people,
to go kill people and play football. So I think that the defense played hard, and maybe, that's why the offense wasn't more successful. But we know, like with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't think it's necessarily boring football. It's like it's it's a little bit fly by the seat of your pants football, because there's going to be days where he's throwing up those jump balls, and you don't win all the jump balls. You just don't. I mean, and then you're off the field on third down because you didn't win a jump ball, or a couple of third downs because you didn't win the jump ball. And then also, he's throwing those his trademark interceptions at the wrong moments. And it's like, holy crap, we just got boat raced. So I think that's, could be up or down with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Actually, the more steady approach, in my opinion, the more boring football, so to speak, was with Tua at the helm, because that's how they called the game. That's what they tried to be.
And Tua is also really, really much more careful with the football, and kind of guarantees.
Sure.
He kind of helps you with that 0 turnover policy. I'm pretty sure that Brian Flores is one of these coaches that gets up there, and I think that they should believe it with this team, the way that this team is built, which is, if you don't turn it over, we're going to get turnovers, and if we get turnovers, we should beat damn near everybody in this league, save for maybe a couple of teams.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, it makes
think about this. Tua hasn't officially thrown an interception yet. I think we all know that he had one that was called back, and there was another one earlier that
and he has the one fumble, right? The one against the Rams, or he has two?
Yeah, he had the fumble against the Rams. I mean, where he got creamed by two guys. Aaron Donald sack stripped him on his first play as a first real pass play as a starter in the NFL, wasn't it? Or yes. No, not really. I guess he had the Jets as a starter in the NFL anyway.
But starter. And then Brockers body slammed him.
So no, but I mean, he had the interception that was called back as he was, rolling out to his right. And then he had, before that, it was against the Chargers. It was like the ball just kind of went straight through a linebacker's hands. Mm-hmm. That sort of, by the way, that interception, I think you and I have talked about it. Like there are things about that interception. There's luck in the game. Certain players are luckier than others. As far as, and it's not even an interception. It's people are calling it like a should be interception. And I take issue with that entire concept anyway, but yeah. So anyway, so we've seen it. Even if you take those two over a 4-game period, that's like nothing. Right? It's like, oh, he threw like two interceptions in a 4-game period, but there would be interceptions for a reason, because they actually were not interceptions. So it's actually just 0 interceptions. And over a 4-game period, that's who he is. He's safe with the football, and that's how they called it. They called a bunch of, there's a lot of differences. People have been talking about, is Chan Gailey calling things more conservatively with Tua than Ryan Fitzpatrick, and some people try to, some people got an agenda one way or the other, and they try and get up and say one thing or not. But I mean, the simple answer is the correct answer, which is yes. There is a difference in how Chan Gailey calls the games with Tua versus Fitzpatrick. How could there not be? How could there not be? And is it more conservative? Yes, absolutely. How could it not be? It's like you've got a guy that's been calling plays the last 6 years that he's been in the NFL. He has been calling plays for Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right, these two should get an apartment together and start a sitcom. I mean, these guys know each other. All right,
I'd watch that.
Yeah, and so you've got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Chan Gailey are a thing. All right, and have been for 6 NFL seasons. And then all of a sudden didn't Chan Gailey find out, by the way, that Tua was the new starting quarterback from the press? Like,
that's the rumor.
Yeah, like he wasn't even internally told, because somebody connected with somebody high up, and I won't say who, leaked it out. But anyway, so suddenly Chan Gailey's got to deal with a rookie quarterback who's never called plays for before, and he's no longer calling plays for the guy that he's been calling plays for 6 years. It's going to be different. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be a little bit of, not friction, but, trying to feel each other out. It's going to be conservative because I don't know what this guy can do yet. It's going to be repetitive because, okay, I'm trying to focus on the things that he's shown that he can do. Mm-hmm. And that repetition actually cost them against the Denver Broncos, because the Broncos defensive players in particular, through film study, you could see that they knew the tendencies. It wasn't necessarily the Broncos play calling. It was smart defensive players. Mm-hmm. But so you have things going on that way. But were they using no huddle with Tua at the helm? Hell no, not even close. Like, they were one of the worst as far as running no huddle goes. They were one of the least no huddle oriented in the league with Tua at the helm. Whereas they're like top 10 with Ryan Fitzpatrick at the helm. Okay, were they running a bunch of empty? Well, some, not as much as they do with Fitzpatrick, certainly. Were they running a bunch of 11 personnel? Well, yeah, but it was still mostly 12 and 13 personnel for for most of Tua's time against the in the 4 games that he played. The run pass splits, this is where I've seen some folks stand up for Chan Gailey and be like, oh, he's just as aggressive as ever with the run pass splits. But no, not really. I mean, it's still, if you look at the first down, second down, run pass splits, no, it's still more conservative with Tua at the helm. And as you could argue that it should be. And it was so in like every single game. It's not just one game kind of blowing it out of proportion. So yeah, I think that Chan Gailey is kind of used to one guy. He's trying to feel out another guy that was, that's new, and that's a rookie, and he's trying to really nail down what he's good at and what he should be calling. And there were some issues there, and they showed up in that Denver game. And then they were going to try and start him against the Jets, but then he smashed his thumb up, and now we get no chance to see that. So it's just unfortunate. But anyway,
yeah, and Brian Flores says that when he's healthy, he's the quarterback. He's the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
So we're going to play this questionable or doubtful thing all week. I think they practice on Tuesday, so we'll see if he's questionable or if he's doubtful or whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna play that up. They're gonna be bad with that. That.
Yeah, of course. They're gonna hide it until they don't have to hide it. If I had to bet, I'd say he's out there on Sunday. I'd say he's out there on Sunday to get him ready for this all important stretch, which it's either gonna make the team or break the team. in these last 4 games. But you got to get the first one, and the first one is this Cincinnati game that gets you to 8, and then you know what the mission is. The mission is to get to 10, because I think 10 pretty much gets you in. So, I would say he's out there. I don't have no information one way or the other. Where I do have information is that I always liked DeAndre Washington, and
Mhm.
and I said on Twitter on the 3 yards per carry account, I think he looks the best out of everybody. And people were saying, you must be, how Twitter is. I'm either an idiot or I must be insane. And nah, they gotta go get Travis Etienne. Like I said, any of those things. You know what I mean? Like I said,
Yeah, right.
I'm ready to give $50 million to DeAndre Washington. I'm saying he's the best of a bunch of bad options. But I really do believe that. I think he's the best of what are essentially bad options. I think this team has a bunch of RB2s and not a single RB1 in sight.
Yeah, I think that we have a problem that might run a little bit deeper than just the running backs. As you're seeing this really take shape through the second year, and remember last year, this running backs unit looked like the worst in the league. Ryan Fitzpatrick was the lead runner, right? So infamously. Now you fast forward to this year, and it seems like, and the thing about the caveat to what you're saying about DeAndre Washington looks like the best one. Well, we've played 11 games. I think we've probably had like 4 or 5 different games where we could say, oh, now this guy looks like the best one, or oh, now this guy looks like the best one, or like, did you see what this guy had to offer? I'd like to see more of that, and it's really just all bad. And I think we have a deeper problem in that I'm not sure that there's a clear about what the Dolphins want to be as a running offense.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things, because a running offense is something that, like, when it really takes shape, it takes shape because of repetition. This is not one of those things where it's like, you need to be able to, be able to change your identity week in.
I completely
week in and week out.
I completely agree with you when you say vision, because I said it before. I said it in the preseason. Well, there was no preseason, but before the season started in camp, I said I love the diversity of the running game, which means, all the different sets and all the different types of plays that they ran. They run outside zone, inside zone, leads, power. They run everything. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's not a good thing.
Exactly. I mean? That's exactly one of the big problems is that, like, I think, like, Mike Martz used to say this about the zone scheme, like zone run scheme. Like, you want those zone guys. I mean, where it really pays off is when you run that shit to death. Like, it is so high in your rep counts that these players just can run it. Like, I think that's a run game, probably more so than many other areas of football, is about that the repping it and really having an identity. And so I think we have a vision problem about what we want to be, because I think Brian Flores is a fullback guy. I think that he's a self-professed, I'm not revealing anything or speculating, he's a self-professed fullback guy. He likes having a fullback on the roster. He likes having lead blockers out there. What does that mean? That means power football, generally, power running. And at the same time, some of the running that's done the best with the personnel that we have, especially at quarterback, with the sort of the RPO type of approach with Tua, is more zone and counter and draw plays and stuff like that. Some of the backs that we have are better in that, with that sort of approach. The power game certainly never got off the ground whatsoever with Jordan Howard. And then if you look at the offensive line, though, are these offensive linemen in zone? Hell no. I mean, look, they're all full of 6'5" and 330-pound monsters, or those guys aren't necessarily zone specialists. We've got a bunch of the interior of the line in particular are full of very big guys. So I don't know that we're going in one direction with the run game. And so so really what we need to fix it in the offseason is I think we need to make an investment, like a significant investment in a running back that forces us to operate with a clear vision as to what we need to be. Because you make the investment first, you're like, okay, we just plunked a top 10 pick on this running back. We need to make this shit work. Right. Mm-hmm. And that forces you to have a clear vision and to just chase one goal.
Yeah. And I'll get back
and I think that's what they need.
Yeah. And I'll get back to a story. Remember when Ricky Williams was acquired here? He sat down at the time, I believe with Norv Turner. Was it Norv Turner? Yeah, it was Norv Turner. And Norv Turner said, all right, I got this for you. And Ricky was like, I don't actually like that stuff. Can I give you what I like? And Norv Turner said, okay. And Ricky gave him 5 plays.
Yep.
And Norv Turner admitted at the end of that season, this is a season, by the way, where Ricky Williams ran for 1,800 yards. That's almost 2,000, folks. Okay. And like a 5.6 yard per carry average. Okay. That's almost double this show. Okay. All right. And Norv Turner admitted at the end of that season, I ran only 5 plays all year. Right.
It's exactly right. That's kind of what it takes to have a great ground game in the NFL.
Yes.
Is you just have like San Francisco under Shanahan tends to have a great ground game. They got some issues this year. I guess they've got issues all over the place.
Well, they don't know who's active or who's not.
Right. And so the issues there. Issues aside, they know who the fuck they are with on the ground, right? Yes. They know exactly what they're doing, what plays they're going to be running, and it's not week to week. It's not based on this personnel or based on that personnel, or changes with this quarterback or that quarterback, changes with this running back or that running back. They know who the hell they are, right? And that's, I think, what it takes to have a really strong ground game in the NFL. Now, you can have an okay ground game, I think, in the NFL, doing it the way the Dolphins do. Just get better personnel than they've gotten.
Yes.
But if you really want to take it up a notch, I think investing to the point where you have to line up everything behind that investment, I think that could do it.
Yeah, and that in this last game against the Jets, the score was 13-3, and they get the ball back, and it's 1st and 10 at their own 20, and this is the Adam Shaheen touchdown drive, which I thought at the time was extremely important. And I said so in the WhatsApp chat. I said, you know what? I'm not much of a scoreboard whore. You know what I mean? But 20-3 looks a lot better than 13-3, and it does look a lot better that it's 13-3. You're getting the ball back, put together an 80-yard drive, and end this stupid thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, who the hell wants to be sweating passes into the end zone against the 0-10 Jets? You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking to myself, there's 12 minutes left. I believe there was 12 minutes left at that point. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, get yourself a touchdown drive. They did, by the way. They got the touchdown to Adam Shaheen.
They did.
But that drive started at their own 20, and they ran a lead right with DeAndre Washington. And they get the double on that side with Karras. I'm sorry, with Jesse Davis.
You're talking about
Robert Hunt.
Davis. Yeah.
And you see that DeAndre Washington presses the hole. There's nothing there. And he says, I'm outrunning people to the outside. And he outran everybody to the outside, got 16 yards. That alone impressed me, because I don't remember a run like that all year.
Not since Kenyon Drake. Not since Kenyon Drake was great at doing that. Yes. Right? Probably a little too good, because he liked to bounce everything outside. But yes. That's what he does. Like he is particularly proficient at seeing, sensing when he can bounce it outside and just use his speed. And so it's nice to see DeAndre Washington do that. But you're going to have to forgive me if I'm a little bit skeptical, because we've been through this for 2 years now. It's not just this year.
Yeah.
We've been through this for 2 years now. It's like, oh, now this guy, what does this guy have for us? Oh, now this guy, oh, this guy looked intriguing. Oh, what about Patrick Laird? What does he have for us? Fumbles.
That was infuriating, by the way. I'm not.
We'll see.
He might get that first down though, because remember, he falls down in a heap, like right on the sticks.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think he had it, but yeah,
it would have made for like a 4th and 1 decision, maybe 4th and 2, something.
Matt Breida had a challenging game, and he had the fumble, and then toward the end, some of the drives that you're talking about, like Breida got the ball in some of those runs and did well with it. So it's very inconsistent, confusing, and that's sort of the offense right now.
Yes. Moving on the offense, because we're not going to talk too much about the defense. They're just fine as of right now. Okay, and they're getting trickier by the week.
More than just fine. You can make an argument that this is at least top 2 defense in the NFL.
Yes, I would say so. Yeah, I don't think that's crazy, and especially the Colts have a really good defense, but they just gave up 5 billion points to the Tennessee Titans. Do you see this defense as a defense that's going to go out there and just give up 5 billion points? I don't. I think this is a defense that fights you, and if you get 4 touchdowns on them, then you did a great job.
I think. Well, I mean, yeah, we're beyond that, I think. And one of the keys that the 5 billion points came in 2019 when we were playing this aggressively, and we didn't have our shit together in the defensive backfield as far as communication and wherewithal, and really instinctively knowing how to play when you're going to get the pressure in, because you've got these zero blitzes and stuff like that. Like that's what's most impressive about the defense is the tank play that burned us so badly against the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2019, that we called the tank play.
Yes.
We're running,
and we put it on the t-shirt, by the way.
We're running that all the, we put it on a t-shirt. We're running that all the time now. And it's not a fucking tank play. That's for damn sure. And it's like, I mean, that's the big thing. That's why they're not giving up a bit. They've just gotten so proficient.
Yeah. And I drew up a play, and they're so good at it. They're so good at it. The entire defense is so in tune with each other that it's crazy. Okay. I put it, one of the plays that I picked out for the yard work this week was a pretty important play, I would say. It was, I believe it was 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. And it was the opening drive of the game when it looked like the Jets were going down for a touchdown, right? And Brandon Jones gets the sack up the middle. First of all, they went cover 0, okay? Except that they dropped one guy back. So it wasn't really like cover 0, but they had the cover 0 look, okay? But it's the intricacy of what they're doing on the pass rush. First of all, everybody was covered. And Bobby McCain had the slot guy Crowder in bracket coverage with Needham, okay?
Yeah.
And they basically and the way that they set it up, you can see the guys communicating. And it's very simple what they're doing. They're just saying, Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, that guy that's right in front of you, wherever he goes, you go. Let us worry about the rest of the defense. You know what I mean? It seems that that's what they're doing. But if you look at that pass rush, Mekhi Becton is pretty good. At least, if you listen to the New York media, he's the second coming, right? Jerome Baker absolutely forced Mekhi Becton to get into a stance, okay? Start kicking and start blocking air, because he threatened him up the field so wide that when Shaq Lawson crashed in on the guard and the center, Christian Wilkins was already on top of the other guard, and there was nobody there to block Brandon Jones. Nobody. So Mekhi Becton, what is he going to do? He keeps staring at Jerome Baker, and Jerome Baker absolutely fooled him with his look pre-snap and his rush off the edge. He never even touched him, by the way. You could tell it was a complete fake out. Or maybe Jerome Baker said, you know what? This blitz is getting home and I don't want to get smacked by Mekhi Becton. Maybe that's what this is about. But if you watch that play, it's so perfectly executed. And it's right from the jump when Christian Wilkins is lined up at 0 and he moves over 2 gaps to hit a guard off of Emmanuel Ogbah. And you can tell that Christian Wilkins is basically giving up himself, getting completely blown up by 3 different offensive linemen to free up Emmanuel Ogbah, who also gets in there. So, yeah.
Well, this is what really good defenses. I mean, the Jets did some of this against us, and that's why they were kind of successful. Is good defenses are really good at playing kind of team pressure, I guess, and that they just know how to game it and work. It's a team game, and the good defenses know how to do that. It's not just all one-on-one pass rush. So that they've gotten proficient at that. But I think that if you look at the Miami Dolphins defensively, I mean, we're third in the NFL, I believe, in the turnovers. I think somewhere around, I think maybe not turnover percentage. We're third in the NFL as far as percentage of drives that end in a score. We're third in the NFL, I think, in scoring defense. Or well, that's only technical because the Ravens haven't played their 11th game yet. But so we're second in the NFL, I guess, more or less, in scoring allowed. And I think that second in the NFL, you add a scoring allowed, add in the turnovers, add in the we're pretty good on penalties, as I think people know. The scoring percentages, the turnovers, the scoring on defense that we've done. So sort of if you look at the points on a net basis, that come out very well too. I think you can make the case. So we're the second best defense in the NFL. I think you have to give the Steelers, probably give them their due.
Yes.
But otherwise, it's a damn fine defense. So that should be celebration for us. I mean, that talk about a mission accomplished with the money that they spent on the defensive side of the ball, getting Byron Jones after having already given Xavier. And how often do we say, well, this might mean Xavier Howard is done? Well, look what he's done. Look what he's setting the league on fire with interceptions, doing it at a pace that's incredible. So getting Byron Jones, getting Kyle Van Noy to a big contract, giving big contracts to Shaq Lawson, and
he's not only beating up on the little guys. He has an interception against Herbert. He has one against Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Definitely. He almost got one on Kyler Murray.
I mean, he's been incredible that way, and then you spend the money on the defensive ends, Ogbah and Lawson, in addition to Kyle Van Noy as sort of a buck linebacker. It's just and then Raekwon Davis is giving you great minutes now as a second round pick. I think that really hats off. That's an incredible defensive transformation. And you have to give credit to Boyer, Josh Boyer, and also obviously Brian Flores. Yeah. But that defense, that's the story of the NFL. We're 7-4 because of that defense.
Yes.
And
I'd love to get some insight, although we'll never get it because this is not something that they do. Okay. But I'd love to get some insight into what's their protocol as far as like calling plays and setting up personnel, because we understand that when we had the COVID outbreak in our coaching staff, that Brian Flores was going to take a lot of responsibility. Sure. But I keep seeing him with a play sheet, and I keep seeing him consulting with Boyer, and they seem to be like really active when the defense is out there. So I wonder if he's doing something like maybe he's calling the third down plays, or maybe he's running the personnel out there. So I love to see what their protocol is.
He said he would always be really involved there, didn't he?
Yeah, he always said he was going to be hands-on with the defense because that was what he was very comfortable with.
That's what he's good at. So I think that it is going to be, and that's something to keep an eye on, because eventually some eggheads are going to wonder if this is really the Brian Flores defense, not the Josh Boyer defense, and then you're going to get articles questioning whether Josh Boyer needs to go be a defensive coordinator somewhere else or in order to advance. And honestly, I think Josh Boyer might be on his way to being the next, Belichick tree head coach.
Yeah.
To get his chance. And because look, he's the one that found Nick Needham. Nick Needham's playing out of his goddamn mind as a nickel corner right now. By the way, shame on me because several times I've questioned whether Nick Needham should be on this defense. And you know what? Come at me. You can find me on Twitter. You can at me and tell me what a fool I am. It's okay. Just make sure that you also tag Nick Needham's mom in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, he's playing out of his goddamn mind as a nickel corner for this team. And that's a Josh Boyer find. And he did that. He did that in New England too. I think they've talked about Malcolm Butler and stuff. So I think that he might be on his way to being a head coach. It was funny. I'm having a conversation with somebody who's in scouting, and they noticed that Matt Patricia has been fired from Detroit.
Yeah, it's
like despite being a head coach is like being a CEO. You have to be able to do a bunch of different jobs, and it's an enormous amount of weight. And some people just can't do that. And Matt Patricia probably can't do that.
Right.
But he's also a brilliant defensive mind. Even the players that hate him say he's brilliant. I'd love to find a place for him in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where? Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, you got Brian Flores and Josh Boyer calling maybe the second best defense in the NFL right now. And you've got all these, it gets deeper than that. It's all this success finding these gems and the diamonds in the rough and getting guys to play, collectively better than they play individually. Why the fuck would you mess with that? I don't want to do a damn thing to it. I'm scared of changing it. I'm scared that Boyer's going to get taken away and then we're going to be like, and then it's just not there for us anymore. But yeah, anyway, that's
yeah. Yeah. All right. And in closing, I guess we could be brief with this because they've been brief pretty much all year. Is just saying, look, help is on the way in the form of Preston Williams. Okay. Is that it? Is that all we got as far as this wide receiver core? Or is there still things that you want to see? Or have you seen enough? It is what it is. And we're just playing out the string with this wide receiver core. And
you mean this year?
Fix it in the offseason. Yeah. Is there anything else to get to this year with that wide receiver core? Or is it just as simple as, hey, help is on the way with Preston Williams?
Okay. So yes, it's complicated. So
because truth be told, it's the story that's not being told is this offense looked pretty damn good the last time Preston Williams was on there with both quarterbacks.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that there's something to be said. A consistent Preston Williams that, doesn't have all these brain farts could be a really big asset to the offense. Mm-hmm. However, it's a little bit more complicated than that because we've got this weird situation now. And this is how much they went over it in the game. The commentators, James Lofton and everybody went over it in the game kind of speaks to how much they're talking about it in the pregame meetings and how much the players and the coaches are pointing to it and stuff like that. All they're talking about is how Ryan Fitzpatrick is, throws with trust. He throws with trust. He throws these 50-50 balls. A guy who is covered to him is open, his single coverage is open. And he just throws it up and sees if the guy can make a play.
Truth be told, what Ryan Fitzpatrick does a lot of is that if he recognizes, it's man, I'm throwing it to Devontae Parker.
Yeah, exactly. Or Mike Gesicki.
Or
right?
Mike Gesicki. He plays favorites.
Or Preston Williams. And
yes.
And he's always done this in all of Chan Gailey's / Ryan Fitzpatrick offenses. He has always favored those big, tall guys who can jump up, who can jump up and catch the ball. You go back to the tight ends that he had in Tampa Bay or Mike Evans, all go back to New York Jets when he had Brandon Marshall and the other guy whose name I'm forgetting, he came from Denver, Eric something or Decker. It's just big physical receivers that he can trust. He will throw that trust out there onto the field, and that's why Mike Gesicki and Devontae Parker love him. Yeah. And I think Tua probably struggles with that a little bit more. He's not used to it. He's used to a different approach. And this is another area where it's like Miami kind of has to decide what they want to be. Because I think when Tua gets back out there, he's had this beat to death, seen it beat to death in the media and behind the scenes, probably, beat over the head with it, that he needs to throw with trust. So, okay, so he's going to do that. Well, yes. He's going to do that more. And if he's going to do that more, you better make damn sure he's got the weapons that are going to have it pay off for you, which means Mike Gesicki, which means getting Preston Williams on the field, honestly, because he's going to throw those jump balls to Preston Williams now, and Preston Williams is 6'5", so he can win.
And the bad thing about that is, and trust me, listeners and followers of the 3 yards per carry account, we get a lot of people, and we thank you. You took us to 10,000 followers. And all the listeners that we have and all the downloads that we get every single week. But people have been mining our mentions with, do you have any information on Preston Williams? When is he coming back? Trust me, people, with this team, we don't know if they amputated his foot or if he's going to play this week. Okay.
He might be the range of we don't know.
The range of our information on Preston Williams is his career might be over or he might play this Sunday.
He might be dead. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the range of our information, because the Dolphins are just not forthcoming with injury information. That's it. Sure. They just aren't, period.
But I think the point being that Tua's going to come back and he's got this beat over the head. So he's going to go ahead and throw these jump balls. And if he's going to go ahead and throw these jump balls and he's not that comfortable with it, but he's going to do it anyway, then you want guys out there that are going to bail him out. And Preston Williams is one of those guys that can bail him out, particularly in the red zone. This is where he's very effective, Preston Williams. So yeah, that will help. That will help to get him out there. But I think the other thing that'll help, is we see a little bit more and more lately of Callaway out there. What is he? He's a speed guy. He gets open. Jakeem Grant, he's a speed guy. He gets open. I think that you have to give Tua some of the stuff that he's more comfortable with. I mean, they were not running 3 wide receivers a lot with him out there in the 3 games, really the 4 games. They were running, it was 12 person, it was 2 tight end, it was even 3 tight end personnel. And I think that I think they need to get him out there with some more speed at the receiver level, more often, be it Jakeem Grant, Antonio Callaway. Is that what his name is? Is Antonio Callaway? I don't know. Callaway. He hasn't done that much in the NFL, so I don't feel too bad. But so then they have to get that approach out there, and then I think they have to work in the the jump ball specialists and get him to just understand a little bit better when he can just go ahead and do that, even if he's not as comfortable with it.
I completely agree. And who knows, maybe it happens this week. As Brian Flores says, he is the quarterback when he's healthy. I guess Brian Flores will decide when he's healthy, or the sleuths that will watch practice starting on Tuesday. When, that's another thing. Is he going to be wearing a mitten or something hiding his hand so nobody takes pictures of this? So, yeah, I'm watching, and you can track this, okay? With both quarterbacks, our biggest offensive games, I believe, were that Cardinals game, just the way they looked, okay? As far as trusting an offense. I was watching Tua Tagovailoa playing against the Cardinals with our offense, and I'm telling you, something came over me that had not come over me in 20 years, which was confidence when we were down 31-24. You know what? This kid's going to tie it. If we lose in overtime, we lose in overtime, but he's going to come back and tie it. And sure enough.
And you know what? I was waiting for that to happen against the Denver Broncos, and I thought it was going to, because they finally started to go to some of the empty spread formation stuff that they should have been running a lot earlier.
Yes.
In the game, and except they started to get it going. You could tell that Tua was getting it going a little bit, but then he had guys around him who were blowing it and like drives that were being crushed because of that. And I'm not trying to say, like, Tua's not at fault and stuff. Tua's absolutely at fault for the failures, for his failures in that game. But I mean, there was a period where I think he was starting to get it going, except that things around started crashing around him. And then the final drives where I thought that Tua could really start to get it going, they gave him to Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they gave Fitzpatrick the plays that would have got it going. The empty backfield, spread out, quick hitters and stuff like that. I mean, they gave him more of that. And I thought that Tua had that in him, and we won't find out. We'll never know whether he had that in him in that game, because they went ahead and reached for Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that when they did pull Tua, and he said, Brian Flores said in his post-game presser, I wanted to go a little bit more up tempo, and I wanted to, get a more faster moving offense out there. So maybe Tua Tagovailoa isn't, comfortable with that yet. And what I'm thinking is that he looked at the clock and he said, you know what? I think with this quarterback, we could get 3 possessions, and we might need 3 possessions to win this. They ended up getting 2, by the way, because they spent way too much time getting that field goal. What
they ultimately need, and this is because I feel like we know how this movie ends. If we head into the playoff run, and I mean pre-playoff run too, because there's those games that lose and you're out, kind of games.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, we head into the tough part of the schedule, the pre-playoff period, and then the playoff run. If we head into all that with Ryan Fitzpatrick at the quarterback position, we know how this movie ends.
Yes,
we do. I'm sorry, but we do, and we've been there before. And even though it hasn't been that often that we've been there, but we have been there before, and we know how that movie ends. The only way that we're going to have any hope of getting further is if Tua Tagovailoa is the quarterback during that period, and he's up to speed to the point where, yes, we can run up tempo with Tua Tagovailoa, which he was good at Alabama. What we can, we can do more things with him to where the coaches have the confidence to call the games that way. With him at quarterback. That's the only hope that we have, to me. I mean, I maybe it sounds like I'm really, really denigrating Ryan Fitzpatrick right now, but he's had a long career, and I think that he's just kind of established his limitations. So, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. And what I would say is, who knows? Maybe they're just trying to keep it off of film for now. And they're eyeballing that 4-game stretch that we're eyeballing.
Could be.
Like they can read a schedule too, right? So maybe they're reading the schedule. Maybe they did get cute with this Jet game, and they said, we're not wasting 2 on this with this crap. You know what I mean?
Could be.
It could be. You never know. You never know. You never know what they're thinking, but we will see, because that 4-game stretch is upon us pretty soon.
It's looming.
Or then we will have a preview of Dolphins, Bengals later on this week. So that's it. There is no more. We will see you later this week.
Thanks for listening to 3 Yards Per Carry. You can subscribe via iTunes, on Podbean, or your usual podcast provider.